Okay, here's my audience, and we'll pass the recorder. Alright. Hello, my name is Dennis Bass, and this is for Communication 101. This is my informative speech. Have you ever seen the movie Red Dawn? Have you ever thought that this could be possible? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not only feasible, but that it's a threat that we face in today's world. That is why I have great honor in serving in the United States Air Force. As dependents, as dependents of the military, it's very important for y'all to understand exactly what it takes to be a military member and to understand how God values the service of the armed forces. I myself have served in the Air Force for 4 years as an aerospace ground equipment mechanic, and I obtained the rank of senior airman. The Airman's Creed is a standard at which the airmen live their lives. And by understanding the Airman's Creed, we can understand what God values in the service of the Air Force. Unlike many jobs, the Air Force requires a great deal of commitment. In today's Air Force, there are 329,638 military that are active duty members. There are 68,872 reserve military members in today's Air Force. The nature of the work requires gentlemen that can do diverse tasks and be able to do it under extreme conditions such as wartime. This takes a great deal of commitment and service, and God honors this. Just like Christians, there is a historic Christian creed. The Air Force has its own creed. The creed is, I am an American airman. I am a warrior. I have answered my nation's call. I am an American airman. My mission is to fly, fight, and win. I am faithful to a proud heritage, a tradition of honor, and a legacy of valor. I am an American airman. Guardian of freedom and justice, my nation's sword and shield, its sentry and avenger. I defend my country with my life. I am an American airman. I'm a wingman, leader, warrior. I will never leave an airman behind. I will never falter, and I will not fail. This is one of the first lessons that I was taught when I joined the Air Force. We live our careers by this creed. We'll examine the first part of it. I'm a warrior. I have answered my nation's call. What is a warrior? A warrior was described by Christopher Coker as the strength of body and soul. The soul, which is further understood by being a Christian, is that God is the keeper of our soul. He says He wants us to be warriors for Christ. He says put on His armor and that we may defend against the darkness. God values honor. In the PDG, which is the Professional Development Guide of the Air Force, which is our rule book and the standards that we live by as well, it describes honor as honorable service in captive depends on the faith and the loyalty of the fellows. Next, we'll look at the next part of it. Guardian, freedom, and justice, my nation's sword and shield, its sentry and avenger. God values freedom. In Ephesians 3:12 it says, because of Christ and our faith in Him, we can now come boldly and confidently in God's presence. God values justice. In Psalms 99:3 it says, mighty King, lover of justice, you have established fairness. You have acted with justice and righteousness through Israel. God values His avengers. For He is God's servant for your good. But if you do not do wrong, be afraid, for He does not bear the sword in vain. God is our avenger. This is Romans 13:14. God said in the beginning, when man fell from grace, that we would work the ground. I believe, as an employee of the United States Air Force, that God honors our commitment and the sacrifice that we made. But ultimately, we need to remember that the greatest sacrifice that was ever made and that we live our life by is the sacrifice that Christ made for us. Thank you, and that concludes my speech.